Hi, it's Stephen Phillips here from Ginfo. I've just recently had a great conversation with Nick Collison from Couranto, talking a little bit about needs analysis and how they use this technique to help basically inform and engage both information managers that they work with across the industry, but also directly with many of their business unit clients as well. So this is just a quick intro, really, to the highlights reel that we've compiled for you from that conversation. You can catch the whole conversation and the whole webinar and the footage at ginfo.com, together with a supporting article with all of the slides from the presentation. But what follows now is really just some high points from the conversation, which we hope you'll find interesting and useful. If you do find it interesting and useful, please do click the like button. And if you'd like to get future updates, please do click subscribe. And we'll see you next time. We're going to be talking a little bit about content portfolio needs analysis. And I'm really very pleased and delighted to welcome Nick Collison to join us today. I'm sure many of you know Nick. He's had a high profile in the information industry on both sides of the pond for some years now. He now works out of North America with Couranto. And I know he was he's very active on the scene with Special Libraries Association, or SLA. And I'm sure many of you will have had in the past long dialogues with Nick at conference and the like. He and I are just going to really talk a little bit about needs analysis and a process that he uses in his role as a director of. Well, actually, what is your role these days, Nick? Can you clarify your? Perhaps actually it's better if you introduce yourself rather than.
Oh, I just sweep the floors and empty the buckets, and I'm the fun person in the organisation. But my official title is Director of Procurement and Library Services. It encompasses many different things, but I'm very much client facing, and I do battle with vendors and publishers alike. So I'm kind of the evil twin, shall we say, just to make sure that you guys are getting best price, best in service, and really looking at, in some cases, especially with sort of the needs analysis, looking to expand portfolios. But yeah, many of you know I'm humbled by many of you who I know on the line, and I can feel myself going red. There you go.
And we're going to just work through a little bit of an overview of the process, a little bit of a deeper dive into the engagement model and the discovery processes, what the outcomes and then the barriers are, and then when it works, how is that perceived by the stakeholders that we're working with. So if we take a look first at the process, Nick, I guess I just want to start at the end and work backwards, really, with this, which I think is the way in which we would certainly tackle this conversation, because this is a typical kind of engagement model. It's one I know that you at Couranto use a lot, Nick, in terms of working not just with information pros, but then working with them in concert with the end users and the stakeholders within the business. I don't know if you can kind of talk us through here around the four kind of stages of that we've got articulated in this diagram.
Okay, so we're going to start with a difficult one, and this is the one that is probably the most time consuming, and it is engagement with stakeholders, senior leadership within your own organization, but more importantly, the users.
And I wonder to what extent you come across that, and the fact that those legacy products almost constrain the thinking of the people that are using them. I kind of want to advocate that we should be talking about what it's not a question of what products you need. Isn't it more a question of what information do you need to know in order to deliver your business objectives and your deliverables? Is that something you've seen in your experience?
Every single day. I think that there is that kind of rule of thumb. I've been using this product for 10 years and I'm not going to change.
I was kind of build out a little bit from a different angle, and I think, you know, in my experience, what we find is that the senior people, they just end up rubber stamping, simply because they don't actually know the use cases themselves. And for many of them, when they wake up and actually smell the coffee and begin to realize this, is that they're like, and we, in my experience, we help them realize this, is that it's very frustrating for them that all they can do is, rather than opine in any way, is just to kind of go, oh, okay, so-and-so wants this product, or we want to spend this money. I'm just going to rubber stamp it as the budget holder, because I don't have any insight. I don't have any information that helps me make an informed decision about whether this product is the right product for the business or not. I mean, have you got any reflections on any practical or, you know, if you like, case study or instances where you've seen things being inspired and provoked and transformed as a result of this process?
I have a couple of clients who it goes with needs assessment, but it doesn't, but it can. It's really, they do a roadshow. They do a roadshow of their services once a month, every other month, and they're really going out to their constituents and saying, did you know we have this tool?
So one of the most important things I think that I always kind of fall back on is documentation, and you know, and I'm not sure, you know, I'm not sure I was ever as good as I might have been at documenting some of this stuff, but it feels to me like it's really important that we've got to evidence all of this work that's being done, and this is a massive kind of undertaking, and really having a very, very clear structure around your engagement model to kind of keep the dialogue going and to demonstrate to the business that you're actually, you know, the expert in this space that's able to create value. Again, Nick, I don't know any extra comments in terms of this slide. Anything you want to pull out from it to highlight?
It may seem a lot of work, but the reality is once you get in the pattern of conducting these calls, interviews, it then becomes second nature. I mean, the one thing that, I mean, the feedback that I've had from clients or from people who've completed this process, they're really put at the top of the pile as being recognized within the organization of providing a lot of value and a lot of insight. And again, I say this, and I'm being very humble, you guys are very important within your roles, and you need to be recognized for that. Doing something as simple as looking at aligning with a joint business plan meeting kind of puts you on the map, because you're interested in what the firm is doing and how it's going to conduct its business over the next 12, 24 months. And it gives you insight of what leadership is actually thinking. So this is very simple. Does seem that it's a lot of work, but the reality is it becomes second nature.